37 years old and was born on October 4th, 1968. On October 1st of the same year, my first cousin was born. Our parents were so excited because we were born so close together. It was my aunt and uncle's second child, and I am an only child. Our very first Christmas, the family gathered at my grandma's house. You see, my aunt and uncle were from out of town, so we were all to be at grandma's house on Christmas Eve. When we arrived, my mother realized that my cousin and I even had on the same outfits. My mother said it made sort of special after what happened. About 4 months later, my aunt had went into the hospital. My uncle, being at home with a small child and a baby, put the baby in bed with him. In the night, he rolled over on her and smothered her to death. When he awoke, it was too late. He called my grandmother, and all he could do was scream into the phone, "She's gone." Having children myself, I can only imagine the heartache. The story has haunted me for years, but in a way I cannot explain. At about the age of 17, I started to realize that when I went on vacation or visited somewhere special, I had a feeling inside of me that I couldn't explain. All I knew was for some reason I would stand and stare and start to cry. Being young, I tried to hide it at first. Then I began to wonder what was wrong with me. As I got older, I would try to really ask myself why I was feeling this way. And one day I got an answer from the inside of me. That's the only way I know how to explain it, where it came from. I don't even remember where I was or what I was experiencing at the time, but I was getting emotional again, and I heard a voice in my head say, "Go, see for me, because I can't. Take me with you." I honestly believe that she was with me. In all the things I've experienced in my life, she had been here with me. I would like to tell my mother, but I'm not sure she would understand. I always feel her, and I feel connected to her, even though I never really knew her. This paranormal event happened at the Royd in Arizona House State Park. This is my testimony of the haunting. When the Roydens lived in that mansion, they had a rather large garden not far from the house. Where that garden used to be now stands a large entertainment superstore, Hastings Entertainment. Not too long ago, I was the assistant manager of this store. One night, another associate and I braved the attic to retrieve some DVD lock boxes. I was standing on the ladder with half of my body inside of the attic, while my associate held the ladder for me. I started to throw down some locked boxes when I suddenly heard a little girl's voice. I stopped, as I just thought I was hearing things. My associate informed me at this moment that I looked like I was about to vomit. I took a deep breath and continued my duty. Then I heard it again, but this time it was unmistakable. The little girl's voice said, "Get out." I was down that ladder faster than you could say white as a ghost. Because we had a duty to complete, I had my associate climb the ladder to retrieve the rest of the locked boxes. She positions herself just as I had when suddenly both of us heard it again. "Get out." It was so loud I heard it from where I was standing below the attic. She instantly said, "I'm out," and shot down the ladder just as fast as I had. We exited the stockroom and decided to make do with what lockboxes were retrieved. Being paranormal enthusiasts, we discussed what happened at great length. Of course, when we told other employees, most of them stated, "I'm not going to encourage your quest for adventure," whatever that means. This incident sparked my curiosity about the house. I had heard Hastings used to be the location of the Rundens Garden, but rumors tend to fly around Flagstaff like undergarments at a Rolling Stones concert. I decided to look into it by taking the Royden Mansion tour, and the tour guide confirmed the rumor. He stated that the garden is where the daughters used to spend a lot of time. He also confirmed rumors of hauntings in the mansion. Shortly after I took the tour, I heard from a book department associate at Hastings that she heard the pitter-patter of feet in that area at night when no one was around her but her. The books department is just below the attic where the lockboxes are held. Months later, a stalking associate went all the way up to the attic and stood as he sorted through the locked boxes. He fell through the sheetrock and barely missed injury. Perhaps the little girl was right for trying to warn us. When I was about 4 or 5 years old, my sister and I were spending the night with my grandmother who had just lost her husband 3 days earlier. My sister and I slept in the same room with our grandmother. In the middle of the night, a sound woke me up. It sounded like coffee percolating, so I got up to see what it was. I walked down the hall from the bedroom to the kitchen, and there he was sitting at the table, her husband. It must have not bothered me because I sat down at the table and carried on the conversation with him. Though, to be honest, there wasn't any mouth movements from his end. He was just silent and staring at me. That's when I thought things were getting a little creepy. And then the conversation I had kind of trailed off. Now, mind you, this wasn't an elaborate conversation. This was just me saying a couple words or something. My grandmother said she woke up and heard me talking to someone, but didn't know who it could have been. Oh, I got up from the table and walked down the hallway to the bedroom door and told her that he wanted to talk to her. She said with confusion that he was dead, and I replied, no, he's not. He's in the kitchen. And I turned to walk down the hall, and he was standing at the end of it. A couple of minutes later, time went by, and he was gone just like that. I swear to this day, I can still hear that coffee pot gurgling in the middle of the night sometimes. And whenever I do, I get this weird feeling, like he's just around the corner waiting. I could hear him telepathically speak to me and say, "See you later," somehow. Not sure how or why, but it creeps me out. I went back to my sister, burying myself under the covers. The warmth of flimsy shield against the sudden cold that seeped into the room. But sleep couldn't come. Every creak of the floorboards, every sigh of the wind outside, it all sent fresh jolts of fear through me. The gurgling sound thankfully never returned that night, but the memory of it, and the phantom scent of coffee that lingered in the air, had me wide awake until the first sliver of dawn peeked through the curtains. My grandma, pale and drawn, had at the kitchen table a cup of untouched coffee growing cold beside her. She didn't mention Grandpa that morning, and neither did I, but a heavy silence hung in the air, a silent acknowledgement of what had transpired the night before. Years passed. The memory of that night faded, becoming a hazy anecdote I'd occasionally share with friends, always met with a mix of skepticism and amusement. But then a few months ago, something happened that sent shivers down my spine and unearthed a long dormant terror. I was visiting my grandma again, this time alone. She'd aged considerably, her once vibrant eyes now clouded in distance. One evening as we sat sipping tea, a sudden gust of wind rattled the windows. A flicker of movement caught my eye in the hallway leading to the kitchen. My breath hitched. There for a fleeting moment, I saw a figure standing in the doorway, an old man hunched slightly, his features obscured by the dim light. My heart pounded a frantic rhythm against my ribs. Would it be Grandma? I croaked, my voice barely a whisper. Did you see that? She turned to me slowly, a flicker of recognition crossing her face. See what, dear? She asked, her voice raspy with age. In the hallway, I stammered, my gaze fixed on the empty doorway. A man. Did you see him? A long, heavy silence followed. Then tears started to roll down her cheek. Sometimes, she whispered, her voice barely audible. He comes back, just to say goodbye again. I wanted to share a story with you regarding ghost contact through dreams. On June 1st, 2006, One of my best friends and fraternity brothers passed away due to sudden burst of capillaries in his brain. My best friend and I, a great friend to him, found him in his room without response after he had been complaining that evening of a horrible headache. After calling 911, he went through 2 brain surgeries to save his life, but sadly the efforts failed. His death has been extremely hard on me. I've been thinking about how good of a friend he was to me, and whether or not he knew it. It has really bothered me. This afternoon after class I took a nap, because I was exhausted from staying up late the night before. In my dream I was in a hallway. Now I cannot decide whether it was a school or a hospital, but in my dream I was aware that Richie was dead. He appeared in the hallway to me, and I remember being dumbstruck and unable to speak. He appeared anxious at my difficulty, and I finally blurted out to him, "I loved you, and you were my second best friend." He looked perplexed and said no. We were brothers. In his life, being fraternity brothers meant more to him than anything, and he hated how many of us had best friends. That is all I remember from the dream. I really feel that Richie visited me in my dream to soothe my mind about our friendship. We were brothers, and he was confirming that he knew what that meant to both of us. I woke up in chills and all that would happen during my dream. I love your site and I'm happy to share my story with you. I'm 15 years old, and when I was about 8, I saw something I will never forget. I was watching TV with my younger sister when my mom called me from the kitchen to go and get my dinner. As I turned to go through the doorway to the kitchen, I saw a boy roughly my age standing in the hall. The thing is, I could see straight through him. I was a bit freaked out and turned to look at my sister to see if she had seen anything, but she just went straight through to the kitchen. So I turned around, and the boy was gone. I thought nothing of it, and just figured I was seeing things. Later that day, my mom asked me to go and fetch something from the upstairs bathroom. The bathroom was right next to the door to my bedroom, and as I walked by for some reason, I looked into my bedroom, and I saw the same transparent boy standing in front of my dresser. I was really scared, and refused to go upstairs for the rest of the day. I haven't seen the boy since, but sometimes I feel him about. This is not the only weird experience I've had. A few years ago, I had a friend over on Halloween, and we were talking with only a candle on, while we could see each other. In the middle of our conversation, the candle went out. I got up to turn the light on, but when I did, the candle came back on again. Later that same night, a glass jar full of glass stones threw itself at my friend's head. We were really badly shaken up and didn't sleep well that night. I really believe in ghosts. I know that they are real and walk this earth. I admit, I've never seen one face to face or anything, but I have a feeling that they are always around me. Well, my first encounter was when I went to sleep over my cousin's house. I was sleeping in the middle of both my cousins, hence I was the smallest and all. That night I woke up wanting to go to the bathroom. I was about to wake up my oldest cousin to tell her to go with me, because it was dark and didn't want to go by myself. I stopped and decided not to, thinking she was going to think I was some kind of a high Ken, or would get mad at me for waking her up in the middle of the night. Well, then I get out of bed and went into the hall. My heart was pounding because I was really afraid of the dark, and I couldn't turn on the hall light because my aunt would get mad. Hence they had trouble with the electricity bill. Well, anyway, the bathroom was all the way down the hall. Well, then I walked as fast as my little chubby legs would walk. When I got into the bathroom and turned on the light, I was so happy. I did my business. The worst part was opening the bathroom door and turning off the light, because then everything will turn pitch black all over again. Oh, I took a deep breath, turned it off, and started walking. That's when I heard the little rustling and the little footsteps. I was about to call out who is there when I saw a little person peeking around a corner of the hall. I stopped dead in my tracks. I swear I saw the little person give me an evil grin in my way. I couldn't tell because I was already running to my cousin's room. I got into the middle and felt safe. Well, that's my story. Other than that, in my house, I always hear noises. I'm a night person. I am always in the last in my family to go to sleep. I stay up every night reading a book. Some nights while I am reading, I can assure you I'm wide awake and alert. I hear someone in the kitchen getting water from the sink, or someone shuffling my parents' papers in the dining room. I'm the only one with a view of the living room, and the kitchen and the dining room. It's really weird hearing those sounds, since I didn't really see anyone come down the hall of my past my room. Other times I hear footsteps in the hall going back and forth, but I don't see anyone. I don't think it's anything evil. I just think they are ghosts who are wandering around my house, or the ghost of the old lady who lived here before us. Lady was found in a living room on the floor because her granddaughter treated her really badly. She didn't feed her. My husband and I have lived in the same condo for nearly 8 years now. It's become our home, and we're so happy with staying here until we're more financially stable to buy a house. I've never had any bad feelings here, but I've always felt like there was something around us. Our daughter used to talk about a lady in a blue shirt that kept trying to take her water she kept by the bed. She would also have guests for tea besides her stuffed animals and dolls. When she pointed out a picture of my Aunt Katie, we knew it was her immediately. Our daughter was only a little over 2 when Katie passed away from diabetes complications, but in that time they had together, she brought so much happiness. Oh, now I feel something in her room. I know it's Katie there watching over her. Other family members have had visits too. The radio will come on when a Smokey Robinson song is playing, or we'll turn to our favorite station. We have other visitors too, mostly family, I believe. My husband was laying in bed the other day, after kicking the cats out of bed, and reading a bit. He works nights. Just as he was about to close his eyes, someone rattled the hangers in the closet. He looked up and saw them moving. There were no windows open. The cats were out, and nothing had fallen. He believes it was his mother sending him a message to chill out, as he had been stressing all week about a job interview, to the point it was affecting our daily lives. He was the first person to pop into his head when it happened. We also have someone being mischievous here. I cleaned out my purse the other night, trying to find my wallet. I completely emptied the purse and it wasn't there. This morning, it was right in the top. My sewing things got moved. Keys that were hung up the night before across the room in the morning. Little things like that. I've also heard them too. A couple of times I'll be reading or something, and I'll hear a faint voice. Once it simply said hi. Another time it sounded like a couple was whispering. None of it has been frightening. Most of it has been comforting, in fact. I'm not sure who else is here, besides our family, or who likes to play jokes, but they are welcome. They've never scared us, and when my daughter was little, and was becoming frightened, I asked them to stop and they did. I guess we're pretty lucky to have respectful ghosts. They feel like part of the family after all this time. I'd better mention Otis or I'll pay for it later. Otis was our cat we had when we moved in here. She had an attitude to say the least, and her favorite game was terrifying anyone that came to visit by trapping them in the kitchen and growling at them. But she was always loving to us, and very protective. Sadly, she became ill, and we had to put her to sleep about 3 years ago. But she still comes around, even more now than another cat we rescued, who is the spitting image of her, but a lot more friendly. I've seen both our cats jump on the bed, only to get scared and jump off again like she was there to let them know it was still her spot. I felt her climb up on the bed when I'm reading, And when I look to see which cat it is, there's nothing there but an impression. I've even heard her purr when no other cats are around. Oh, she's still there, and still taking her claim on her favorite spots, and letting the other cats know who's boss from the other side. I'm boss from the other side of the laptop. Wow, that was a weird laugh. Anyway, yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. I was gonna just like stop the video and just leave it on that laugh because it would be funny to leave it on a cliffhanger, but I don't even know if anybody's watching till the end of this video. If you're watching to the end of this video, please leave a comment, leave a like. Tell me what story you liked in this. I don't ask that often, but I like the cat story personally because I'm a cat person and a dog person, but there was no dogs in these stories, so we have to settle for a cat, which is fine with me. I'm not mocking the people in these stories, by the way. You know, it's tragic when you lose a pet, but you guys know what I mean. Anyway, hope you have a great summer. We're gonna upload a long video after this too, hopefully by Monday. So by the time you're listening to this, hopefully it's like before Monday, so you know that this message is getting out to you and all that. Anyway, guys, just want to say thank you so much. Leave a comment, leave a share, leave a subscribe, because this video doesn't really do well. Short videos, and honestly, I don't even know why I'm saying that, because I know that's just a fool's errand to just, you know, suggest that it'll do, you know, marginally better. I don't even know what I'm talking about these days, but you know what I mean. But I'm just, you know, hopeful that the video will it will do something. But you know, either way, I'm glad I'm entertaining you guys, and I mean, it does kind of suck, but whatever. You can be a channel member or something. I don't know. If you're already a channel member, then you can give me a hug. I don't know. I don't know if hug is a currency. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next video. I'm ending this. Bye. Love you, and see you in the next video.